If a job calls for insulating interior walls for sound control, this certainteed noise reducer bat is manufactured specifically for controlling sound. The craft facing on the sound control bats is white, but this facing is not a vapor retarder, so never use this insulation in exterior walls. When you work with metal studs, you'll be using special unfaced bats. These bats are slightly wider and longer, so they pressure fit in the sidewall cavity. There are two ways to insulate steel stud construction. In exterior walls that require a vapor retarder, special craft face bats may be used. Or you can use unfaced with poly. Check with your supervisor for the right way in your area. These bats are wider than the regular bats for wood construction. They're 16 inches or 24 inches wide, not 15 or 23 like the bats for 2x4 inch wood construction. And these bats are also longer, 96 inches, not 93. You must insulate the ceiling of unheated garages or other rooms under heated areas of the house, such as crawl spaces. Insulate the ceiling in band joist. Use wire braces to hold the insulation in place. Or in this case, the engineered wood joists are designed to hold bats without additional support. In these unheated areas, keep the facing up toward the heated part of the house and in contact with the floor above. When you come to pipes or ducts or cross bracing, be sure to continue the insulation around them like this. Split the insulation when you come to wiring like this. Now, let's look at unfaced bats. You install unfaced bats basically the same way as faced bats, but you install a separate poly film vapor retarder over the insulation. Follow along as our installer pro does it the right way. Notice that unfaced insulation has the R value printed on one side. Make sure these markings face the inside of the room. That's so an inspector will know if the proper insulation has been installed. Now, he carefully places the insulation into the cavity, tucking it in as he goes, and making sure it completely fills the cavity. He stuffs insulation into small openings, chinks around windows and doors, insulates behind pipes and ducts, behind electrical boxes, and in cavities with wiring, either slits the insulation or splits it to fit around. And then, when all cavities are filled, he staples a separate 4 or 6 mil poly film over the whole wall. The poly must be continuous and complete. As you install it, keep it taut. Be sure to overlap at the corners so moisture can't get through, and staple at the corners and all along the top plate. Some installers go completely around the room, stapling the poly to the top plate, and then go and finish all the stapling. Staple the bottom corners and all along the bottom plate. Staple into every stud and around windows and door frames. Usually, you'll leave the poly over windows and doors, and the drywallers will cut it out and seal around these openings. Or there may be times when you'll be instructed to cut out the poly before you leave the job. Check with your supervisor. Be sure to repair any tears with waterproof tape. Look the job over to see if there are any gaps in the insulation or vapor retarder. Remember, openings can cause heat loss, leading to high fuel bills and unhappy homeowners. But you don't need to worry about that, because you're going to do it the right way. You're learning from this training course, and you're using high-quality, CertainTeed fiberglass insulation. You're becoming a real insulation pro. So, let's summarize what you've learned. Walls can be insulated with either faced or unfaced bats. Unfaced is then covered with a separate vapor retarder. You'll need only a few basic tools to insulate walls. It's important to be thorough and complete. Every insulatable opening must be filled. Vapor retarders should be overlapping and continuous. Patch any tears. Don't compress the insulation unnecessarily. It's okay to compress behind pipes and ducts if that's the only space there is. Well, that does it for this tape on insulating sidewalls. We hope you picked up some good pointers. See you next time.